Hey there, so we're looking right now at ADR Toolbox Layout Creator, and I'm going to create a simple layout. First thing we're going to do is we're going to just come over here, we have this box called primitives, and I'm going to take a big string. String is just any text that you would like to put in any static text, particularly text that won't change. Right, so right here I've clicked on size string to fit, and as I drag it out here, the string gets bigger. I'm going to quickly center this. Voila, it's centered. I'm going to change it. I just want this to say ADR Q sheet. Okay? And then again, we can size this to fit. Okay? And then we'll center the object. Then we're going to put another small string out here. And we'll call this actors copy. And perhaps I want this string to be bolded. So I'll just bring up my bold box. We have a font panel here that you can access by just hitting Apple T. I'll make sure that's more, there you go, Apple T. Bold, italic. So we have a font panel here where you can change your color of your font. Actually, that works right here. So we'll just change that to red, or we can ultimately bring it down to black. Okay, and then we will put, if you're just making this for one individual movie, we'll just put our movie's title here. I just duplicated that, and using Apple D. What I'll probably do here now is I'm just changing the alignment on these to make them a little bit cleaner. We'll call this Summer Big Hit. Okay. Oops, I just spelled that. Just come back and do that. Summer Big Hit. And we'll change the font size. Make this maybe 14. There we go. Summer Big Hit. Now you'd have to check and print these up on your printer to make sure they don't fall outside the margins. The easiest way to do that is just the first time you want to set up and see how this whole prints up, is just drag a little mini box and put these in the corner. Maybe I'll include a little test page, a test document, so you can test your margins and whatnot. But you can just put these out here in the corner, and then you can see how much, how clearly you can. I mean, these are obviously safe margins right here, the left, the top, the right margins. These are safe margins, but you have areas in here which you can actually print out into. It just varies on printer manufacturing as to how far out here you can get. I'm going to delete that box. So we've added some static text. We're going to put some data here. All this right here is data that the program generates. So we're going to go ahead and put title here. This is the title box that you find in the print panel. And of course, this can be anything you want it to be. It depends on what you put in the program's parameters to set this for. Okay, we're actually not going to use ellipsis here. Just don't want this to get any bigger than that. We're actually going to make that a little bit smaller. We'll come back and resize this. And then we can also take and bring our subtitle information. Okay, of course, none of this really, this can be anything you want it to be. Just depends on what you define it at in the ADR Toolbox. So basically, this data will be pulled from the ADR Toolbox document that you print. So we have three things here. Let's go ahead and, while we're still working on this, let's go ahead and put page number. We'll put that down here, page 1 of 10. It'll be as how many ever pages you have. We can put our supervisor up here, the greatest supervisor in the world. We can put the date it's printed. Currently, that's a European style date. I'll fix that. And then we have another date parameter here, which is just another date parameter if you wish. I'll just remove that. This is actually the data that's pulled from the program, from the header information. Okay. If this is for a particular, if you print, basically the difference is if you print these up on the day before, this ultimately can be the date if you decide, the date you decide you actually are doing the shoot. Okay, this might be the date you printed it up if you want to keep track of when you print documents. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's populate some data here. We've got three things I want to draw your attention to. The first thing is this box up here. It's called a pre-queue. We can hide that if we want. But this is data basically that will only show up if there's a change in the data across queues. So let's say like you have decided, okay, in this field really I want to put the scene. Okay, so we'll drag this out here and we'll put the scene here. This is some data from the Terminator movie I was watching as I prepared this. We'll align this left, or right rather. We can drag this out. So it'll basically fill up to this area right here. Sometimes your scenes can be long if you've entered them in off of using data files from the picture department. So so that it doesn't get bigger than the page, I've added a couple of things. You can either do size string to fit, which will try and use up as much of the box as possible. And conversely, if the text is really long, it'll shrink the text. And that could be a problem. So what I've added here is a thing called use ellipsis. And if this gets really long, it will print up to a certain point and then start using ellipsis, the little dots. Okay, so you'll have a good idea of what scene you're in, but in case the scene description is super long, it won't fall off the page. Okay. So again, if you have 5 cues that are part of scene 14, then this box will only be printed that one time. But you can also put character data in there. So basically, the program goes through and it sees what data you're looking for, and it checks and sees the last data it looks at what it looked at previously, and if it's any different, then it'll pop up another pre-queue before your queue. So you could put your character, you could put anything that would be somewhat stable across a series of lines. You can put your reason. It just depends, but typically it might just be used for. We're going to go ahead and save this. Okay. So we've built our scene up here. So now we're going to. This is our cue box. This is the main box. Okay. So let me show you something here real quick. I'm going to hide our pre-queue and I'm going to hide our take box. And I'm going to do something. I'm going to set this parameter up here called echo. I'm going to set it to 1. And what it does basically is it just changes the opacity. It takes whatever's in this box and it repeats it. So you can have an accurate idea about how big your cues are. So we're going to take a big rounded box primitive here. You don't have to use these. You can adjust these. Right now we can see, wow, we've got 5 cues on here. So this helps us to figure out, if I want, I can resize this blue box to fit as many cues on there as I wish. Okay, we're going to set this back to 5. We can undo that if we wish. All right, and I'm going to remove this box, and then I'm going to put the take back on, and then the pre-queue. Okay, so right now it's just showing us 3 cues, but that's because it's assuming that all the data here is being printed. Okay, your pre-queue, your main queue, and then any take information. So we're going to hide these again. Now we'll just leave them on. I'm going to continue on to another video here.